Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another video. This one's I'm gonna be showing you guys my build in the cycle so far and how everything's going in the cycle. We're here on day 5, and I've been enjoying it a lot. Joined the Circle of Fortune, had a good time, and yeah. So for those who don't know, I woke up sick on launch day, and I was like, I'm not gonna let some sickness stop me. I've been streaming this game for months. I love this game. I'm going ham and cheese. I took 2 weeks off for this. Let's go. I streamed 15 hours, and at the end of it, my voice was shot because the illness just went straight to my vocal cords and just tore it up. So for the last couple days, I've just been recovering. Anybody who's seen any of those streams, my voice is like cracking and breaking. Well, getting better. So yeah, let's hop on over into the game. I'll show you the build that I went with, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, here we are in game. So for those who are here day one, you guys know that I went Ignite Hammers to start, and that was actually pretty decent. That was pretty good. We actually took that build all the way to Empowereds, because day one I was going to switch early to Void Cleave Multi-Strike, which is the build I'm on now. But day one, most of the day I was playing everything but the cycle because I couldn't play online. Near the end of the day, the server stabilized just enough, so I just stuck with Ignite so I can use Shield Charge, and I just ran through everything because I didn't want to spec into Shield Charge early and take the node that gives me allows me to charge without a shield. And yeah, and then day 2 I went into Monoliths and I just sat there all day and kept farming. At the end of the day, I was able to go use the Temporal Sanctum key and skip straight to Majolka, grab the Circle of Fortune, and then jump back into Monoliths, where I've been pretty much ever since, except for a few times where I've gone to grab some prophecies. But I wanted to show you guys this build. So, looks familiar. I released a build guide for Void Cleave Multi-Strike like a month, 2 months ago. Still kind of the same, but we had to compensate for the gear that we have now as opposed to the gear I had back then. That gear was pretty stacked. So in that build video, I loved taking Vulpal Force because the amount of bleed that you can stack on an enemy just gives you more damage, which is multiplicative with other modifiers. This node is so good, but in my previous build, I also had a +3 to Void Cleave. This one, I don't have a +3 to Void Cleave, so I opted not to take this. On top of it, we found an axe that does not have bleed on hit, which is very important. You can try and take like this node right here. I didn't like this because the chance to bleed on yourself just really the chance, like, yes, you get a bleed chance, but enemies have a chance to bleed you. Yeah, it was not the business in my opinion. So I'm using this axe. If I ever found something like a Bardiche, I would possibly go back to taking this node, but for now I'm just gonna use this setup. Notes here, I don't use a traversal skill. I turned Void Cleave into a traversal skill. These nodes are very important. They give you they turn it into fire damage and then allow you to increase the fire damage with physical damage as well. Not or. It's fire and physical, which is really nice. I don't know if these stack, but under Paladin passives, you deal increased fire, lightning, and physical damage equal to your health. Since we do increase fire and physical, and Void Cleave now scales with both fire and physical, I don't know if this is a double stack, but nonetheless, there's some juicy crits out there. I want to say it does, but I don't know for sure. It's just it's nice that way. If you find a belt with like 110 increased physical damage, you can throw it on there knowing your fire damage is going to go up as well, but then you can stack fire resistant shred, fire pin, which we've done in this build. Very, very standard setup for Void Cleave as a damaging skill. Cooldown, turn it into a traversal. These are your three most important nodes for Void Cleave builds that are damaging. Gives it a base crit chance, it can't be dodged, increases that crit chance, applies critical vulnerability, which allows enemies to be crit easier if they're hit by Void Cleave. And then this one, a 200% critical multiplier, as well as mana gain on crit. This is really good for big mobs. This build does struggle a little bit with bosses, but it can still chunk. Holy Aura, this is pretty much a standard setup. I always take these nodes right here for just about any build. It allows me to free up room on my gear. 15% endurance, 25% elemental resistance, on top of the fact you already get 15% elemental resistance. So with this and this right here, you got 40% of your elemental resistances already. And this gives you 20% poison resistance, as well as a chance to, not a chance, but you cleanse when you use Holy Aura. Took the fire pen, attack speed, ignite chance. I had to take 2 points here to be able to go to take these nodes. These nodes are cool. I personally, at least when I started out, maybe I'll try this again in the future. I felt like they definitely were good. I don't have a lot of fire increases on my gear right now. And I need the critical strike chance. So I opted for this side of the tree. This might be interesting to check out in the future, but for right now, I just took this right here. This is pretty good. I think the fire penetration is worth it over the critical multiplier, but you know, to each their own. Abyssal Echoes. I've tried running without Abyssal Echoes, and it's just the utility you get out of Abyssal Echoes is just too good, so I keep it. You can spec Void Cleave to apply Abyssal Echoes. I don't recommend that on this build unless you have something like a Dark Stride, or if you have enough points, you can come up here and grab this additional charge. Because when you cast Abyssal Echoes, you it slows the enemy, and then on top of it, after casting Abyssal Echoes, your next Erasing Strike and Void Cleave deal more damage to slowed enemies to the tune of 80%, but it only lasts 4 seconds. And this has, with our cooldown reduction we have on this build, this has a 2.9 second cooldown right now. So you could hypothetically take some nodes from somewhere and put 3 points down here to cast Abyssal Echoes when you use Void Cleave, and have enough time to use Void Cleave again with the cooldown, but you're really constraining your play style. So for that, I put Abyssal Echoes on my hotbar. But if I were to do this, I would possibly think about taking these out, right? I would take, I would only put 1 point here. Actually, you don't even need to put any points here. You can get to this tree through the center. So you can take 4 points out here and put it down here. You'll get a lower cooldown on Void Cleave. And you can proc Abyssal Echoes that way. And then maybe use an unspec something. Lunge. Use an unspec lunge. And that way you already have your Abyssal Echoes getting procced by your Void Cleave, but that's a lot of extra work. I personally just like to put Abyssal Echoes on the hotbar, turn Void Cleave into a traversal skill. This node right here is really nice. It applies another coating to enemies affected by Abyssal Echoes, so we get a 20% attack speed buff for 5 seconds, and enemies that are blinded take 20% more, take 20% increased damage, it looks like. Because there's a difference in this game between more and increased. But that's against blinded enemies. You got to take this node. Abyssal Decay now blinds enemies. And then these nodes are very important to allow an Abyssal Echoes to go out. Multi-strike, I'd say out of all these nodes, if you're doing this sort of build, multi-strike is probably your second most important. Not only does he give you something to whackety whack with, which always feels kind of cool, it generates these swords, and when you use Void Cleave at max stat, well, it doesn't have to be max stacks. When you use Void Cleave, it consumes any swords that you've kind of built up to empower your next Void Cleave. So you see, we're stacking a lot of multiplicative damage to make Void Cleave do a big boom. And it's very satisfying for sure. So we got it set up to where this does 4 stacks. And so when we are at max stacks and we use this, we're doing 60% more damage. So it's multiplicative with other modifiers like this one. Very good skill to use. And then just your standard volatile reversal setup. This node's very important. Cooldown reduction, whole 9 yards. Let's look at the gear. So I recommend Titan Heart with this build. I just found this. It honestly, it rolled with these stats, and all I did is I went through and I made sure the strength, the health, and the health were tier 5. And yeah, it's been very nice. Because for those who don't know, Void Cleave scales with both vitality and strength. Strength is important to get our armor up. So I like to put strength on a lot of my Sentinel builds. We're at 92 strength right now. Like I said, Titan Heart's best in slot here, but the stats on this were just so good. You get the implicit critical strike chance. I'm trying this out for now. We'll see how far we can go. This belt is goated. So this is the new belt, Weaver's Will. First stat it rolled was 100% chance to cleanse ailments on potion use. So yes, we do have a cleanse with Holy Aura, but this is a 9.1 second cooldown. Potions are obviously, whenever you got potions, you can cleanse ailments. This is going to be very nice later on when we're getting hit with a bunch of dots. Speaking of dots, we got ourselves a tier 7 strength on the new gauntlets they got added to the game, and we got a max 24% armor mitigation. Also applies to dot damage. This is not perfect. I would have preferred to have gotten the full tier 5 hybrid health on here. Looking back, we had something in the mana spot that I chaosed twice, and it just used so much fortune potential. I wish I just left that and just put the max health, hybrid health on there. That would have been preferred. We're using the new helmet. Reduced damage taken from bonus, reduced damage taken from critical strikes. We're able to get a double health stack on here. Very important, tier 7. As well as 8 strength, and then a little increase in mana. That's whatever. The health was the most important. The strength was very nice. Boots. So with this, we take no extra damage from critical strikes with the boots and this helmet now. We were able to get movement speed, armor, health, and strength on here. Very nice. Rings. I was running double cooldown rings, but the cooldown wasn't very noticeable with both of these rings at 10%. When you really feel that cooldown reduction is when you have it on your belt, your boots, and both rings. If you're not going to do that, just having one cooldown ring's fine. I'd just go with that. So we got strength, slight increase to fire damage, a little bit of endurance, some health, resistances, critical strike chance, health regen. It's whatever. It doesn't work with Titan Heart, but that's okay. It's fine. We'll find better rings out there, tier 6, but nonetheless, this is a good stopgap, plus it has increased fire damage on the implicit. This amulet is actually pretty good for the build. It has fire pin, increased melee attack speed, increased elemental damage over time, which is actually not too bad because we do apply ignites. We're not doing a ton of damage with that, but that's cool to get a little extra damage. That's mostly the gear. Let's go over to the idols real quick. I got pretty lucky with this one. So when I did the opening quest to where you get your idols, this idol dropped. 5% increased health plus 22 health. I've used this idol ever since. It has been here in my idol slots this entire time. It is very good. Very good. So I've just tried to apply. I found a lot of 5% increases to health. So with just these idols alone, we got a 20% increase to health. These idols give us more fire pin with our melee attacks. This one gives us a chance to ignite. And these ones were just stopgaps, filling the blanks on the armor, on the resistances. We are kind of lacking in lightning, but that's okay. If I get a better Titan Heart rolls with an implicit lightning resistance. So if I take this off right now and put this on, we'll get that, but then, you know, we lose the vitality, so we lose the poison and the necrotic. I'm just gonna roll with this for right now. This is fine. Yeah. So that was the gear, that was the skills, that was the idols. So that translates into all of this armor. We're nearly capped on this. We can fill this in by going to the this node over here, try and get our endurance blessing. We still just got the regular blessing. I want to go back down here and get a better all resistance blessing. I'm just going to be kind of farming this timeline for a little bit, try and get a better armor blessing. But yeah, overall the build's feeling great. The Circle of Fortune has been amazing. The prophecy system is just so cool. I love the bounties. I love the way it's set up. Just, you know, go play the game and get better loot along the way. On top of it, you know, better legendary potential, T7 affixes, rare to exalted chance. I mean, all of this is going to be cool. I'm looking forward to doing all of this. I'm a little bit behind because I came and farmed monos on day 2 until I was like almost level 70 because of the server issues. So I didn't pick up a guild until I was almost level 70. So I missed out on leveling this guild up. So by the time I hit level 100, I'm probably going to be right around here. From what I've been seeing, most people that hit level 100 get to right around here. So I'm kind of missing out on that. I don't really care too much about this. I mean, I get the full set when the set drops. That's, oh well. This one's going to be really nice. Items from prophecies are duplicated. I'm interested in these two right here. T7s are twice as common, and items that would drop as rare have a 25% chance to become exalted. They become exalted, and then you have twice as many chance to get a T7 affix. The legendary potential chance, I think, is going to be the biggest power bump. I'm just going to be looking for chess pieces. Going to be trying to get LP2, LP3. If I can find an LP4 Titan Heart, very unlikely, but if I found an LP4 Titan Heart, this is getting slammed on there. 100%. This is getting slammed on there. Excuse me. Stat increases. Going to be amazing. Oh, I didn't show you the relic. The relic is just strength, critical strike chance to apply frailty. Frailty is very important. It gives us that damage reduction, which helps. So yeah, I'm going to use this setup for a while. If we can find an Odachi with melee critical strike chance increase, that would be the one I would be looking for the most. Melee critical strike chance increase and increase the armor. Oh, I didn't show you guys this. So Juggernaut, Fearless, Armor Clad, Valiant Charge. This is a cooldown for our movement skills. Void Cleave is now a movement skill, so this applies to that. 30% cooldown reduction. Armor Clad, everybody takes this if you're playing Sentinel. This node's okay. I prioritize this node for more health. I took only 1 point in Time and Faith just to generate a little bit of mana when I'm using multi-strike. Blade Master I think is very important for this build because Void Cleave, you can't use Void Cleave without a sword or an axe. So I say this node is, I'm not going to say mandatory because you might have your melee attack speed already taken care of by other means like gloves, sword or axe implicit, but for the most part, I just always take this with Void Cleave builds. Just allow you to build up your charges faster. Dip down into here with the last bit of points that I have right now. I'm going to get 11 more points, I believe. I'm going to take Doom Knight and then probably fill out this right here, Reverence of Duality, just for the increased health and damage. This one, I jumped straight to Light of Raye as fast as possible since I want the increased movement speed, the 12% increased movement speed. It helps a lot with a build like this. I would say when it comes to this, prioritize your defenses the most. I took these nodes because I didn't need to take the attunement elemental resistance or anything like that. I prioritize defense then damage just to get there. Yeah, anyway guys, that's the build. That's how my cycle journey has been going so far. Yeah, anyway, you guys take care.